Okay. Excuse me. All right, everybody. Welcome into the high noon stream for today, Monday afternoon. Sorry, a little bit late. Had to do a little bit of running, last minute running around. Didn't get in here till about 5 minutes ago. Had to set everything up. I apologize, but let's do this. Okay. Okay. Well, I just got to make sure I just sat down and make sure everything's all right. Very quickly, running around all day today. Today's a very busy day here at the Comfort Nest guest house. Coffee pot is still on. It's not a good sign. All right, here's what we're going to do. Give me just a quick second. Hold on 1 second. Be right back. Okay. All right. There we are. Got that. And now we're ready to go. Very good. All right. Couple of programming notes about this week's shows. This is the High Noon Stream. I'm Pugs Moran. You guys know that. This is the High Noon Stream. We do this every Monday through Friday at noon. It is designed to get you all caught up on what everybody's talking about. This is about the current event topics, the trends, the headlines, whatever it is that people are talking about, whatever it is that's buzzing in the world at this very moment. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to tell you why people are talking about it. I'll give you a hot take. You'll share a hot take in the chat room, and then we'll move on to whatever's next. We don't spend too much time on any one single issue. We try to give you a full sort of banquet of ideas and things that are going on in the world right now. However, this is not a normal week. So we do have some programming notes that we need to share with you. Obviously, we're not doing a show on Thanksgiving. So there's not going to be a show on Thursday. There will not be either. You know what, though? There might be a Pillow Talk show. There might be a Pugs and Parker Thanksgiving night. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing Thanksgiving night. I know Thanksgiving night I might do something. So let's put a pin in that one. But there will be no high noon show on Thursday. And there's maybe going to be one on Friday. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. It all depends on my schedule with picking up my kid and all that kind of stuff. Also, there will be no Pillow Talk show tonight. There's no Pillow Talk show tonight because we have a very special mansplaining show that Schwartz and I, Dr. Robert Schwartz and I, we do a show on 97.1 The Freak here in Dallas called Mansplaining, and it airs every Saturday and Sunday evenings from 9 to 11 p.m. Tonight, we're doing a very special Monday evening edition of Mansplaining. So we'll be on 97.1 The Freak between 9 and 11 o'clock tonight. So join us if you're not here in the North Texas FM radio listening area. You can go to the iHeart app. There's an iHeart app. If you have a smart TV, it typically comes loaded, or if just easily accessible if it's not already loaded. You just get the iHeart app. And you can listen anywhere you want. Anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, anywhere globally, you can listen. You just go to the 97.1 The Freak channel there on the iHeart app. Okay, so we've covered all of that. So normal show today, no Pillow Talk tonight. Normal show tomorrow, normal Pillow Talk tomorrow night. Which is weird because we haven't been doing Pillow Talks on Tuesdays because of my kids' football games, but we'll be okay tomorrow. Normal high noon show tomorrow at noon. Normal Pillow Talk show tomorrow night at 9. Wednesday, normal high noon show at noon. Normal Pillow Talk Wednesday night. Thursday, nothing, probably nothing. Friday, high noon show. I don't know. We'll put a pin in it. It all depends on my kids' schedule. It's a holiday schedule. For a few weeks in the summer, we went on summer rules. Well, now we're kind of getting into the holiday season rules. So let's strap in and let's be prepared. All right, let's get started with today's show. This is what we do here. It is the High Noon Show. I am Pug. I'm rushing. So let's just calm down. Let's just calm down a little bit. It is the High Noon Show. It is the 21st day of November, year of our Lord 2022. Did you know that it's the 325th day of the year and that there are only 40, count them down, folks, 40 days until the end of the year. That's right. Get your holiday plans, get your New Year's Eve plans started. That's what we like to tell you here. We like to get it. We've been saying this back since April. Get your New Year's Eve, and you thought I was crazy. Now I sound like I'm giving you some good advice. On this day, let's go through the history. Also, for you first timers, just a little idea of how we do this. First, we take the day, the 21st. It's the 21st of November. We take the day, and then we go through the history of the day, all the big events that happened on this day in history. Then we move on to the births. We talk about the people who were born on this day. We celebrate their contributions and whatever. Then, of course, we touch on a few people who have passed on this day. So we do history, we do birthdays, we do passings. And then once I feel that we all have a nice idea of what this day has represented throughout time, then we can go into what the topics of the day are. So let's run through the first portion of the show, and then we'll get right into all the things that are relevant for right now. On this day in 1789, North Carolina ratifies the United States Constitution and is admitted as the 12th state in the United States. Welcome to the party, North Carolina. 1789. So what was that? What was like what did they call it? Was it just called the Carolinas? And did North Carolina come in before South Carolina? Or did South Carolina already exist and then they needed, I don't know how that worked. And I'm not even that interested in looking into it. On this day in 1877, Thomas Edison announced that he had invented a new thing. That's right. Thomas Edison on this day in 1877, I know he probably tweeted or something. Hey, I invented the phonograph. That's right. Today, the record player. But get this. On this day in 1877, Thomas Edison announces his invention of the phonograph, a machine that can record and play sound. You're telling me that the first version of the record player also had the ability to record? How did that not make it into the mainstream? How did that? Oh, probably because big vinyl probably got involved. We can't have people just recording their own stuff in their living room. Isn't that interesting, though? The very first record player actually could record stuff, too. I don't know how that worked. On this day in 1902, the Philadelphia Football Athletics. Oh, that's right. The Football A's. The Philadelphia Football A's. Got to be honest, never heard of them until now. I knew about the Philadelphia A's baseball team because I know they're now the Oakland A's. But, they moved around a lot. Okay, they were the Kansas City A's. They were the Philadelphia A's. I didn't know there was a Philadelphia A's football team. But I did know that there was a New York Yankees football team. There was a football team in New York named the Yankees. But I was not aware that there was a football team in Philadelphia named the A's. But there was. And on this day in 1902, the Philadelphia Football Athletics defeat the Canaweola Athletic Club of Elmira, New York, 39-0 in the first ever professional football game at night. Look at that. First ever night game today, 1902. Philadelphia Football Athletics just beat the snot out of the Canaweola. I'm going to say it like that really fast because then you can't tell if I'm just butchering the name. Canaweola Athletic Club of Elmira, New York, 39-0. On this day in 1905, Albert Einstein's paper that leads to the mass energy equivalence formula E = mc squared is published in the journal. I don't know what that means. The journal of what? Oh, I see here. Oh, it's a foreign word. Okay, I see what it is now. It's published in the journal Annalen der Physik. Okay, so I'm just going to guess that that's a foreign word for the annals of physics. The annals of physics. The book about physics. The Journal of Physics is what we're going to call that. E = mc squared. It was on this day. So maybe it was like just last night while you were, I don't know what, watching Yellowstone. While you were watching Yellowstone at the same time, like 100 years ago, 115, 16, 17 years ago, he was by candlelight, Albert Einstein, working on E = mc squared. Good for him. All right. Don't know anything about that. I know it's important. I don't know physics. Are you kidding me? I'm a creative. The absolute sciences, math, that kind of stuff. Although I guess physics isn't absolute. Well, I mean, the math part of it, numbers equal, whatever. Anyway, not big on math, but hey, apparently that was a big thing. On this day in 1920, during the Irish War of Independence, on Bloody Sunday, today's a Monday, but this was on a Sunday back then, the Irish Republican Army assassinated a group of British intelligence agents, and British forces then killed 14 civilians at a Gaelic football match. Bloody Sunday on this day in 1920. On this day in 1927, I remember that name, 1927. The Columbine Massacre. That's right. That's right. 1927. On this day in 1927, the Columbine Massacre. Did you know there was another? I didn't. I thought the only Columbine Massacre occurred at the high school in Columbine, Colorado in 1998, something like that. 90 somewhere, whatever it was. No, did you know? Check this out. In 1927, on this day, the Columbine Mine Massacre. Striking miners are allegedly attacked with machine guns by a detachment of the Colorado State Police dressed in civilian clothes. It killed a whole bunch of them. It killed a whole Columbine Mine Massacre. Columbine, violent little town there in the mountains. On this day in 1959, American disc jockey Alan Freed was fired from WABC Radio over allegations that he had participated in the payola scandal. Alan Freed, most people I don't think even know who Alan Freed is. Alan Freed was a disc jockey back in the 1950s and the 1960s, and culturally speaking, he's an incredibly important piece of American history. Alan Freed, among many other things, is the person responsible for taking the word rock, placing and then finishing the sentence with roll. First person ever to say rock and roll. He coined the phrase. The phrase was not something that was in use, but Alan Freed was a disc jockey. And he was a pretty controversial disc jockey in that he was on what were in the day white stations, and he was playing white music to white young people, and he was playing black music, but he couldn't call it black music. That's what everybody called it. Everybody go, wow, that's the black music. You got the black music on the black stations, and you got the white music on the white stations. I had no problem with that. I guess there's not if you don't have a problem. But the problem occurs when the white kid listening to the white station wants, or God forbid, she's a girl, wants to start listening to the black music on the. That's where the problem started. But anyway, Alan Freed worked on a white station. He was a white music DJ. He played music for white kids. And he was really, really digging the cool sounds coming out of some of the black radio stations. So he started playing some black artists, but he wouldn't call them black artists as everybody else did. Here's a black artist for you. That's how they did it back then. This is a white person singing this song for you white kids. And then you'd go to the other station and it was like some black DJ going, well, I guess they wouldn't, right? That's like, when you go to China, they don't say, you want some Chinese food? They just say, you want some food. So I guess they wouldn't be on a blacks. But anyway, Alan Freed coined the phrase rock and roll to sort of hide the fact that he was playing black music. And it picked up. And all of a sudden people started calling that kind of music rock and roll. And look at what we have now. We've got rock and roll. Alan Freed, very important guy, very important. He started like the whole thing of like taking a whole bunch of unknowns and packaging them together and then going on like a little regional tour, like every Saturday night. And it's funny because back then it was all like unknown bands, but now you look at it and it's like, oh my God, it's Fats Domino, Buddy Holly, Chuck Berry, Jerry Lee Lewis. I mean, these were all like no names. So Alan Freed, very important guy. Very important guy also in radio because payola, big deal. Payola was a big deal. So basically, what is payola? Payola was the act of taking money from rack jobbers, as they were called back in the day, taking money from rack jobbers, record company guys, to play specific songs. And DJs got rich. DJs got super rich. And then they couldn't do money anymore. And by the 1970s, money was replaced by cocaine. Copious amounts of cocaine would be between the big stack of records that the record company guy would show up at the radio station. He'd be like, hey, we got some new music for you. We'd like you to play this week. And they'd get a big stack. And in between two, and there'd be like a big bag of cocaine. That's how they used to do it. By my time, when I was an assistant music director in Chicago, it was pretty much just donuts and Jason's Deli. That's what they brought. The music guys, by the time I got into radio, I wasn't getting any underhanded, cash. I wasn't getting any cocaine or any good drugs or anything like that. I got donuts. The record company guys would come by the radio station. They'd bring donuts by the 1990s. Jason's Deli. Hey, we got a nice spread set up for everybody at the radio station. All you got to do is play the new Chumbawamba song. We're like, all right, we'll play Chumbawamba because I love Jason's Deli. And, all of a sudden, Chumbawamba's a hit. That's how it worked. Alan Freed was taking money. And on this day in 1959, he was fired by WABC Radio for taking money. On this day in 1980, a deadly fire breaks out at the MGM Grand Hotel in Paradise, Nevada. 85 people were killed and more than 650 others are injured. And it says here, in the worst disaster in Nevada history. Is that true? Is that how many people died during the country music festival slaying from I don't know. I don't know. But whatever. I mean, the MGM Grand Fire was a big deal. I remember watching that live on television. It was like after school, come home from school, and it's like, hey, why isn't so and so on? Because ABC News, Peter Jennings probably at the time. Peter Jennings jumps in. No, maybe it was like Frank Reynolds. Maybe somebody going even further back. Yeah, maybe. Anyway, but I remember watching the MGM Grand Fire, and I was like, wow, look at that. This is kind of a big thing. And then, interestingly enough, those of you who are familiar with the old Pugs and Kelly show, you might remember that my partner Kelly, her parents were in the MGM Grand Fire. They were there. They were survivors. Her parents were, imagine that. Imagine she was, because if I was sitting at home watching it on TV, she's the same age as me. She's probably sitting home watching on TV too, going, hey, my parents are in there. Woo. On this day in 1986, the National Security Council, a National Security Council member, Oliver North, and his secretary, Fawn Hall. Remember hottie ass Fawn Hall? She became Fawn Hall is the epicenter for the phrase. I don't know if maybe you've never heard the phrase. It's a phrase used, I don't know, among certain people who are interested in this specific subject. Washington Hot. She was Washington Hot or a DC 10. She was no DC 10 or a Washington Hot. That's the idea that Fawn Hall, who burst on the scene as Oliver North's secretary, was shown in the congressional hearings, and everybody went, oh my God, she's beautiful. And then other people started to point out, yeah, but if you were to drop her in Hollywood, California, she would just be like, she's a DC 10. That's what she is. She's hot for DC. Anyway, the Oliver North thing. Remember that? It was like, hey, you did a whole bunch of things wrong. And then he went to his secretary. Hey, they're saying we did stuff wrong. Let's shred everything. And they just shredded everything. And I don't know whatever. What happened? Was he disgraced or what? Because I don't know that Oliver North was disgraced. I know that he became a very successful personality in his own right. He didn't spend the rest of his life in jail. I think he is dead, though. Didn't Oliver North die? Or is he maybe just an old guy now? I don't know. But whatever. What did he do? Like, did he get convicted? Did he do like 2 weeks in jail and then had like a nationally syndicated radio show where he made millions and millions of dollars for the next 3 decades? Is that how we punished him? Because that's pretty much how I think he got punished for doing what was obviously a sketchy act. Not very honorable, Mr. Marine Corps, but hey, whatever, I don't know. He's my point is that he seemed to have come out of all of this as a very well-funded individual. On this day in 1998, Finnish Satanist Jargo Elg. Remember old Jargo Elg? I don't. That sounds like a Star Wars character, doesn't it? Finnish Satanist Jarno Elg kills a 23-year-old man and performs a ritual like cutting and eating of body parts in Hivranke, Finland. It's got like 2 A's with umlauts at the end, so I think that's pronounced Hivranke, Finland. All right. The only reason I said that was because it was a Satanist who ate people, and I thought that's kind of interesting. I'll put that out. You people could hear about that today. That happened on this day in 1998. On this day in 2002, NATO invited Bulgaria, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Romania, Slovakia, and Slovenia to become members. It seems like that's kind of a big thing. On this day in 2019, I remember this because this went viral. 2019, Tesla launched the SUV Cybertruck. So do you remember when they had this was the viral video from a few years ago where Tesla launched the new Cybertruck. I don't even know what it is. It was like a truck. And it had like unbreakable windows. And the dude goes in the demonstration. He goes, look, and the windows are unbreakable. And he shattered the windows. The windows just shattered. Oops. apparently, the backstory is that the windows were supposed to be unbreakable, but for the rollout, they didn't have the unbreakable windows, and nobody told the dude with the card that said unbreakable windows, pick up brick and smash window. So there was a little bit Tesla, all the money in the world, and you can't get better communication between two people on that set. You can't do one person knew, oh, don't break the window. Oh, Jesus, did you edit out on his card that says break the window? Don't break the window! And he broke the window. It was very embarrassing because it became a viral video. In 2021, oh, geez, really? Got to downshift to something like this? Just last year, it was on this day that a dude plowed through the Waukesha Christmas parade. Remember that? How was that a year ago today? Is Thanksgiving much later? Because wasn't this after Thanksgiving? It was like the Saturday, right? After Thanksgiving. 2021, an SUV plows through a Christmas parade in Waukesha, Wisconsin, killing 6 and injuring 62. All right. That was just 1 year ago. 1 year ago today. Some birthdays. Let's celebrate some birthdays. How about the, probably, is he the best known of the Enlightenment area? Right. Voltaire. Voltaire was born on this day in 1694. French writer, philosopher, troublemaker, free speech advocate, Voltaire. Born on this day in 1916, Sid Luckman, American football player and soldier. That's right, he was a soldier. He was a war hero. And okay, so I know that nobody knows who Sid Luckman is. You know who knows who Sid Luckman is? Chicago Bear fans. Chicago Bear fans know who Sid Luckman is because Sid Luckman, born on this day in 1916, stopped playing football in like what would that be? 1916, 26. 36, 46, 56. I think he stopped playing football in like 1950. I think that's the last time he wore a Chicago Bears uniform. But he's in the Hall of Fame. He's one of the great quarterbacks of all time. And he is sadly the greatest quarterback in the history of the Chicago Bears. And he hasn't taken a snap since 1950. Sid Luckman. Happy birthday to you, Sid. Well, he's dead. I mean, we know that he's dead. He's been dead a long time. This is why it's like Justin Fields is racking up more Chicago Bear records. Yeah, because the dude who holds all the records stopped playing in 1950. Sid Luckman. So you know why he's famous? Forward pass. That's how long ago Sid Luckman played. Sid Luckman perfected the forward pass. George Halas of the Chicago Bears is the guy who first went, hey, there's nothing in the rule book that says we can't just chuck this ball that way. They used to throw the ball sideways and backwards. And then like George Halas was like, yeah, I don't see anything in the rules. And then they're like, yeah, but they'll just make a rule for that. And George Halas was like, yeah, but if it works for us, they won't make a rule for that because I'm George Halas and I sit on the board and I'm not going to let them make a rule for that. So that's kind of where the forward pass came from. And that's how Sid Luckman became like this. Sid Luckman chucking the ball downfield. He probably was throwing ducks too. By today's standards, not a nice tight spiral. His throwing motion was garbage. He probably never planted his back feet. He probably had terrible hip rotation. All the things that we now see in quarterback. But Sid Luckman did it first. Happy birthday, Sid Luckman. Born on this day in 1937, Marlo Thomas. That girl. Diamonds. Snowflakes. Marlo Thomas, that girl, married to Phil Donahue, right? Yeah, they've been married like 100 years. They've been married a long time. Phil Donahue and Marlo Thomas. They seem like a nice couple. Marlo Thomas, that girl. Born on this day in 1937. Born on this day in 1939, R. Bud Dwyer, American educator and politician. He was the 30th treasurer of Pennsylvania. R. Bud Dwyer resigned his position in scandal, and at a press conference, opened up his briefcase, pulled out his gun, put it to his head, and shot himself in the head right there on live television during his resignation speech. Famously, the Filter song, Hey Man, Nice Shot, is written about R. Bud Dwyer. R. Bud Dwyer, happy birthday to you, R. Bud Dwyer, born on this day in 1939, died in 1987. Born on this day in 1944, Harold Ramis, American actor, director, producer, and screenwriter, died in 2014. One of my favorite people of all time. I was a little bit late coming into the show today. So, typically we would go, Harold Ramis draft! Oh, that's right. We would have to do a Harold Ramis draft on this Harold Ramis's birthday, but I don't have one prepared. So let's just give it a look. Let's pull up the filmography. I'll just throw out, this will be a very, this could be a bad draft. Although, no, it can't be a bad draft because we are talking about Harold Ramis's filmography. Harold Ramis. Oh my God, is he a genius? First of all, with the first pick, SCTV. We're just gonna, because an original founding member of the Second City Television TV show, SCTV. So there you go. First pick, SCTV. And what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do as director? Okay, things that he directed. Let's go. Second pick, Caddyshack. All right. Wrote and directed Caddyshack. National Lampoon's Vacation. Directed that. Groundhog Day. Wrote and directed that. What else do we have? The Ice Harvest. I didn't know that he did The Ice Harvest. That really? Oh, wow. Okay. You know what? No, we're not going to do The Ice Harvest. All right. How about things that he's written? Meatballs? Yes, please. Stripes? Yes, please. Ghostbuster? Yes, please. Back to School? Yes, please. Caddyshack 2? Nah, we're going to pass on that one. All right. So not a great Harold Ramis draft because I didn't really have time to think it through and put it together, but there you go. Happy birthday to you, Harold Ramis. That's our Harold Ramis draft for today. Also born on this day in 1945, Goldie Hawn. Goldie Hawn draft! Nah, again, same reason, not prepared. And would I even do a Goldie Hawn draft? Like, what did Goldie Hawn, like, what kind of Private Benjamin, I guess? Foul play. First pick in the Goldie Hawn draft. I forgot about foul play. Yeah. All right, moving on. Happy birthday, Goldie Hawn. You seem like a lovely lady. Born on this day in 1965, Bjork, or do you say Bjork? Bjork, Icelandic singer, songwriter, weird ass chick. Bjork. Born on this day in 1965. Born on this day in 1966. Woo, cowboy Troy. It's Troy Aikman's birthday. American football player and sportscaster. Troy Aikman's cool. Troy Aikman's cool, man. To be Troy Aikman, like just to be like who Troy Aikman is today at this stage of his career, he's all right. So he did all the other stuff. He's got the first part of his life, one of the great quarterbacks of all time, absolutely beloved forever here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Then he goes on and he becomes like one of the most respected, most appreciated, most liked television football guy. So he's like, he's like the A team there. Where's he at? Where's Troy Aikman at? Is it Troy and Joe? It's Troy and Joe. Anyway. And then, he works like one day a week. Okay, I know he works more than that because he's probably a very driven individual. You don't get to be Troy Aikman and not be driven. But, you see him around town. He goes to things. He's always shaking hands. He's friendly. He seems like a good dude. All right. Happy birthday, Troy Aikman. You enjoy it. Born on this day in 1969, ladies and gentlemen, the single greatest Major League Baseball player I have ever laid eyes on. I have seen him play multiple times. I was blessed to see him play the end of his career in my team's uniform. But man, those Seattle years, we're talking about Ken Griffey Jr. Happy birthday to you, Ken Griffey Jr., the kid. Never in my baseball loving life do I recall a player bursting onto the scene and just from the get-go being better than everybody else. Just better. I mean, you had Barry Bonds. There was a period of time where it was Barry Bonds and Ken Griffey Jr. It was the son of Bobby Bonds versus the son of Ken Griffey. And it was just like, man, these second generation Bonds and Griffeys, they're going to revolutionize baseball. And they did. One of them by going the chemical route, and the other one, Ken Griffey Jr., just being the best all-around five-tool baseball player I have ever seen. Ken Griffey Jr., happy birthday to you. Born on this day in 1969. Born on this day in 1971, Michael Strahan, American football player. Strahan, man, he was dominant. He was such a great football player. And then who knew? Who knew that like after he retired, he would become, America's cuddle bear, because that's what he is now. He's like, I'm Michael Strahan. I'm Mr. Happy. Everybody loves me. Look at the gap in my teeth. Let me give you a hug. That's what like Michael Strahan is now. It's not who he was when he played, man. He was a devastating defensive man. Born on this day in 1989, another football player, Justin Tucker. Justin Tucker is the kicker for Ravens, Baltimore Ravens. Opera singer. That's why I mentioned him. He's also an opera singer. The kicker for the Baltimore Ravens is also Justin Tucker, born on this day in 1989. Some deaths. Bill Bixby died on this day in 1934, or I'm sorry, in 1993. He was born in 1934. Bill Bixby, the Hulk. For my generation, I come from the 80s, so Bill Bixby is the Hulk. I don't know, who's that guy that's the Hulk now? Mark Ruffalo. Bill Bixby's my Hulk. Bill Bixby would turn into the Hulk, who was Lou Ferrigno, and they didn't look alike, and that's the way I like it. There is, at no point did you look at Lou Ferrigno as the Hulk and go, oh yeah, I can totally see that used to be Bill Bixby. I can see. Unlike the new Hulk, where the new Hulk, I think this is hysterical. Mark Ruffalo is Banner, right? Right, Dr. Banner. Mark Ruffalo, normal guy, and then he turns into the Hulk, and it's all CGI, but it's Mark Ruffalo's face. Just, it's funny. It's funny, and it's distracting. It distracts me. I like Bill Bixby into Lou Ferrigno better than Mark Ruffalo into CGI Hulk face Mark Ruffalo. I don't know. All right. Also, David Cassidy on this day in 2017. David Cassidy. Keith Partridge from the Partridge Family. He passed away. So who do we got left from the Partridge Family? I guess we got, okay. So, Susan Day, is she alive? I think she's alive. Right. Susan Day's alive. Shirley Jones, she's probably gone. She's probably got dead or alive. Shirley Jones. Chat room, help me out here, gang. I mean, I could look it up, but, give you guys something to do. Shirley Jones. Okay. Danny Bonaducci. Danny Bonaducci is sick. He's I don't even know if this is public, but he's sick. He's Danny Bonaducci has been a very successful radio personality for the last 30 years of his life. Chicago, New York, and then Los Angeles, and then Seattle for a period. He's been in Seattle for a long time, and apparently he's off his radio show. He hasn't been doing his radio show in a while. He has some. I'll tell you flat out. I know people who are in touch with him. And here's what I know: Danny Bonaducci is sick. That's what I know. That's what I know, and it's. They don't know what it is. They don't know what it is, but he's been in the hospital, and I don't know. Well, keep a good thought. Anyway, on this day, David Cassidy passed away from the Partridge Family on this day in 2017. All right, now, feel like we know what this day has been. The 21st day of November, I feel like we've got a good idea on what this day has represented over the course of time. So let's get into what's happening today. These are today's trending topics, all the things that the world is abuzz about at this very moment. Let me give you an example. So let me show you. Let me show you guys something. Hold on. This morning, I had to do some things this morning, so I had to wake up and I had to start to look at the trends early this morning, earlier than usual. And I was concerned about it because that would mean that by the time I hit the air at noon, these trends wouldn't be as fresh. So I decided, all right, let's just pick and choose a couple of these trends, and then we'll redo them when I get in. And that's why we were a little bit late. All right. So here's the problem with story number one. Story number one, the number one thing trending is World Cup football. I was afraid of this. I was afraid because I draw a lot of our topics from news aggregator sites, trend lists, whether it's Google or AOL, Google, Facebook. I use Twitter, and then a number of aggregation sites to pull the top stories and all the trends and all that kind of stuff. Here's what's trending on Google. This is what I looked at. All right, this is not what we're going to talk about on today's show, but I wanted to give you an example of how thin the pickings are today because of the World Cup. The number one thing trending in the world is Senegal national football team. Senegal's national team at the World Cup. Number two is competition World Cup. Number three is someone named Weston McKenzie, who has something to do with the United States men's national team. Manchester United FC players in the World Cup. Then there is, what's this? Okay, well, okay. So here's the first 5 trends down is the first non-World Cup story. The next 6th is World Cup. 7th is World Cup. 8th trend is World Cup. 9 is World Cup. 10th is Melvin Gordon, Denver Broncos. He's trending for something. They waved Melvin Gordon. There you go. World Cup. It's all about the freaking World Cup on these trend boards. So there you have it. The number one thing trending is the World Cup. Number 2 thing trending. United States men's national team. That's right. United States men's national team. I don't know why. All right, let's just do a little World Cup segment here. We'll spend about 5 minutes, maybe less, because, I don't. Here's what I know. I know that I never played soccer. I know that I have run around kicking a soccer ball, but I'm not really familiar with the rules of the sport the way I am with, say, football or baseball or basketball or hockey for that matter. It seems to me that soccer, as we'll call it soccer for this conversation because we're Americans. Soccer to me seems to be a very slow sport with very low scoring, and the ball goes out of town, out of bounds all the time. It seems like there is constantly a stop in action because the ball has gone out of bounds. And then I also have difficulty with the timing. Like it counts back. I don't know if I like that. There's a part of me that thinks I might like that if I ever invested the time to actually watch this sport. But as an American sports fan, it's very confusing. It's very confusing because then when it goes down to 0, I have watched soccer games where it goes down to 0 and then they give you bonus time. It's like, wait a second, I thought there was only 15 seconds left in the game. 15, 14, 13, and you count it all the way down and you get to 1 and you're like, yeah, the game is over. And they're like, no, the game ain't over. They're going to keep going. Well, for how long? And how is that determined? I don't know. Anyway, couple of years back, I think this was not a couple. Yeah, it was a couple of years now that we talk about it. It was in the early stages of the coronavirus thing when I just started going deep into Netflix because there was nowhere to go, right? So at noon on a Wednesday, laying on the couch watching Netflix because COVID. And that's when I discovered all of the Premier League shows on Netflix. And I really got into Premier League football. Now, I'll give that sport the respect it deserves because I feel like I know a little bit about it. And I'll call it Premier League football. And I liked it. And, I got my team. Man City is my team. Pep, I like the coach, Pep Gerrard. I like, I've seen all of them. I've seen all of the different series on everything, there's probably 10 different series on Netflix about Premier League soccer. So my knowledge of the sport comes from the soap opera productions that Netflix puts on. So they're like the Hard Knocks versions. Like if you watch Hard Knocks NFL football on HBO, you understand that format. That's what it is. It's the same thing as Hard Knocks, but it's done focusing on English Premier League teams. So I've watched all of those. I watched Ted Lasso. So I'm not like angry. I'm not like anti-soccer guy, right? I just don't. I'm confused by it. I don't really get it. But the men's national team is trending, and they're playing 9 minutes. Is it 9 minutes from now? So I expect all of you to just leave me and rush over to the men's national team game. Or not. I don't know. Are they any good? It's hard. It's hard for Americans to embrace the sport of soccer or global football, if you will, when we just don't really have anything to root for, right? We haven't done. If the United States won the World Cup in 1984, I don't even know if there was a World Cup in 84, but you get my point. If the United States had won the World Cup back then, maybe soccer would be much bigger and much more better understood in this country. But I think for the average sports fan like myself, especially those of my age, which is plus 50, I don't know, man. I don't know if I've got room in my brain to take on rules for a new sport, right? Like I still have batting averages from the 1980s Chicago White Sox in my head. I don't know if I can make room for, what a red card means or, I don't know. Anyway, World Cup. And they're still not selling booze. Can I point this out again? So the World Cup, the host country, Qatar, I don't know how many different pronunciations of this country are we going to hear over the next month. Qatar, they said that, Anheuser-Busch is a big sponsor of World Cup sports, World Cup soccer, World Cup football. And part of the deal of them getting it was that they had to be cool with all the sponsors coming in. And they were. They said, yeah, we'd be cool with it. No problem, my friend. And here we are, like a couple of days before, well, the World Cup has started. But on a couple of days, Friday before, Qatar said, yeah, never mind. We changed our mind about booze. You can't have booze. We're not going to sell any beer, no nothing. except in the fancy suites. If you're in a fancy suite, then you can have all the free-flowing alcohol you want, because apparently in the fancy suites, where the people with money who actually make all decisions, religion and being tethered to your moral anchor doesn't really matter. But if you're in the cheap sheets, if you're just a regular person going to the game, no, because you could go to hell if you drink alcohol, or whatever their rule is about alcohol. So they said no alcohol. So that caused a whole bunch of problems. So the country said, here's what they said. They said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to create a district. We're just going to fence it off. We're going to pen you all in, and we're going to give you alcohol, and you can drink your alcohol in this like little district. Which I thought, if I'm a tourist and I'm going to this sketchy ass Middle Eastern country, and let's be honest, they're all sketchy ass. For me, as a Western traveler, I ain't. Hey, do you want to go to Dubai? I mean, Dubai is probably the least sketchy ass, but even that I'd be like, yeah, I don't want to go to that sketchy ass country. That's still high up on my sketchy ass country rankings, even though when you compare Dubai to, say, Syria, Dubai is not nearly as sketchy, but it's still sketchy because it's in the region. So imagine you're already going to a sketchy ass part of the world, and they say you can't drink alcohol, but if you want to be an infidel, we've created this area where we've penned up all the infidels together. I mean, don't you just feel like, I'm not going in there? I'm not. You're telling me that I can go over there with all the other people that you hate, with all the other, it just seems bad. It seems like, again, sketchy ass region. There's a couple of people, thinking they want to, get their 70 virgins or whatever. It just seems like penning up all of the international infidels in one area doesn't seem safe. It's just, I'm sorry. Just let them mingle with everybody. Just let it. Well, you can't have that. All right, 5 minutes away. 5 minutes away from the United States men's national team taking on Wales. Wales, which is definitely its own country. Wales. What else do we have here? See, that's it. That's all. We're not going to spend any more time on the World Cup thing. Club Q is trending. We had another mass shooting over the weekend in Colorado Springs at a gay club. I called it a gay club, and I immediately went, can I call it a gay club? Does that sound bad? Does to somebody's ear, does it? Because it was. And I think it's germane to whatever the investigation gives us moving forward about the causes of this, the reasons, the motivation. I think it's everybody's got LGBTQ plus club. That's what I heard them say on CNN. LGBTQ plus. What did you just give up? Did you give after the LGBTQ after 5? You just like, we're not doing a second hand. We're not adding a sixth one. It's just plus. Plus what? What does that mean? Fish people? What are we talking about? Who is I think it's fine that you're being, if the message is that you're being inclusive, that's great. Where's a gay club? Okay. For those of us who don't want to play these crazy, ever-changing, what we're supposed to call things game, it's a gay club. Dude walks into a gay club on Saturday night. You know it. He does it. Does everything. Does the whole thing. Checks all the boxes. Had the AR-15. Was wearing the armor. 22 years old. Check. White dude, 22 years old. Check. I mean, we got angry people out there, and they're almost always, dressed head to tail in some sort of body armor. All right, so this occurred at 11:56 p.m. on Saturday. It took 6 minutes for police to arrive. 5 people were killed, 25 more were injured. The suspect, who I don't think is much of a suspect because he was tackled in the club by a bunch of club goers, and they kicked the holy shit out of him. So that's good. He's still in the hospital, has not been charged yet. He is 22 years old, Anderson Aldrich. And here's the interesting thing. This is what we're starting to find out here, okay? Because, these things happen, and all of a sudden, you got the gun. Well, Colorado likes their guns. Colorado, they came to the table, and they were willing to talk, and they instituted what a lot of people think are a bad thing, red flag gun laws. Gun laws designed to let us know when a whack job is trying to buy a gun. And guess what? This dude, 22-year-old Anderson Aldrich, had a red flag. And he still bought a gun. Although I have to be fair, I did hear a long conversation this morning about about how he bought the gun. They were aware of him. They knew he was trouble. Why did they know he was trouble? Well, because his mom turned him in last year for building bombs and threatening to blow things up. So mom turned him in. I mean, come on, it doesn't get any more. Take it serious. Mom is calling the police and saying, my son is building bombs in the garage and he hates a lot of people. And I just want you guys to know what's going on. So there was a whole thing. He got in trouble. He got in trouble for building bombs. His mom told on him. And then people are saying that after that, he went and bought the gun. Now, again, to be fair, I have not seen anything that says when he bought the gun. I have seen people on the news presenting their speculations like fact, but no, there is no confirmation that he bought this AR-15 after he had already been on the red flag list. There very well may be, and if it turns out in the next couple of hours that he did, that the police come out and say, okay, our investigation has determined that our red flag law failed, fine, but I mean, people are jumping on that already. And I'm like, I have not seen it. And I've been reading a lot about this story. Well, here, I'll bring you up to speed on it. Here's the other thing that I'll say about old Anderson Aldrich. If part of these whack jobs' goal is to sort of martyr themselves for the cause, like this guy's cause would be, I'm willing to give up everything to kill the gays. I mean, weird ass cause, dude, but that's his cause. So if he's willing to give up everything for his cause, you would think that he's interested in some fame. You'd think that he's interested in some notoriety for what he's done. We've learned we're a good 2+ decades into this. People who commit these crimes on Saturday nights, on Sunday mornings, on Friday nights do not get the notoriety that a guy who does it on a Tuesday afternoon gets, or a Monday afternoon. And it's simply because nobody's paying attention to the news on Saturday night. And then on Sunday morning, especially during football season, nobody's really paying attention to the news. They're getting ready to watch football all day. By the time Sunday wraps around, this is something that happened 2 days ago, and there's probably things that happened within the last couple of hours that people are more interested in. So, Saturday night, bad time. You didn't think it through. If you want the full metal media coverage, if you want the media to lionize you and turn you into some whack job cause for some weird fringe group that you represent, you got to do your shit on a Monday. You got to do it on a Monday. You got to do it on a Monday afternoon before the evening news. You need to lead. Your story needs to lead the evening news. And then you need to be the topic of conversation that evening throughout all the primetime shows. And then the next day, Tuesday, you got all week. You kidding me? Unless something else major happens that week, you will be talked about Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's a little tip for you. This is for my new business that I'm going to open, where I consult spree killers on how to maximize their impact. I joke about that, but that's probably, to a lesser degree, that job description probably already exists. Maybe not specifically for spree killers, but you know what I'm saying. Parker Gray stopped going to Club Q in Colorado Springs about 1.5 years ago because of the growing hatred for the gay community in Colorado Springs. This coming on the heels of a gunman opening fire with an AR-15 style rifle at the LGBTQ plus club late Saturday night, killing 5 people and injuring at least 25 others. The suspected shooter, who was hurt in the attack, because dudes in the club. Like he walked into the club, he started killing people, and then just dudes in the club, man, they did what needs to be done. You can't wait for police. Look, the Uvalde situation aside, regardless, you can't wait for police. You're going to call 911. You're going to spend 30 seconds on the phone with 911. You know how many people can be killed in 30 seconds? Then what? Then the cops, maybe there's one down the street. Okay, so it's going to take him another couple minutes to get in the parking lot. Then you got to wait for all the backup. No, you got to handle this on your own. This is it. You got it. This is the world we live in. Ain't nobody coming to save you. If you find yourself in one of these situations, nobody is coming to save you. Okay. It's going to end with a whole bunch of dead, innocent civilians on the ground, and this guy either being taken away in handcuffs or shot dead by cops. But they're not coming to save you specifically. You're probably going to be meat in the potato chip aisle. That's what you're going to end up being. So it's what we've learned. We've learned that you've got to risk it all. And boy, oh boy, doesn't that really tap into the hero gene? It's these kinds of situations where we find out who the real heroes are and who's just going to run away and try and survive, which, I can't begrudge that either, because that's a human instinct, the instinct to survive. How many heroes are lionized post-mortem because their heroic acts ended up with them being in a box 6 feet under, right? So I don't know. A gunman opened fire with an AR-15 style rifle at the LGBTQ plus club late Saturday night, killing 5 people, injuring at least 25 others. The suspected shooter, who was hurt in the attack, was apprehended by police and is in the hospital. They kicked the fuck out of him. They did. The descriptions that I heard, they caved in his face. They were just kicking him. They were just kicking his head. I mean, he may not survive. Which I hope he doesn't. I hope he doesn't. I hope that would be fine, because it's not like we need a trial for this. We don't need this guy, all of a sudden, making statements in court, and, then all of a sudden his statements are being read at these crazy little knobhead meetings that are occurring all over the country. And suddenly he's like some cause celeb. No, we don't need that. Just kick the fuck out of him on the dance floor while you're waiting for the police to show up. Smash his fucking head in. Make sure he doesn't survive. We'll see. While no motive in the shooting has been disclosed by authorities, the violence comes amid heightened tensions for the LGBTQ community. Several drag events around the country have drawn protests and threats, with some protesters carrying... Oh my God. All right. This is the whole drag queen thing again. If the concern about kids going to drag shows is that people are pulling up buses in the suburbs at parks and luring children into buses with candy and treats and then taken to a drag club, yeah, I'm against that. I am against that. But if we're talking about a handful of weird kids with weird parents whose parents think it's all right to take them to drag shows, who the hell are we to say that parents can't raise their kids weird? Okay, there's already rules. There's already laws about the kind of thing that you can't expose a child to. So if you think that the activities of some weird hippie parent taking their kid to a drag show on a Saturday afternoon, if you think that some laws are being violated, let the police in there and, I don't think any laws are being violated. I think that you just think it's weird that, children should be exposed to men dressed as women doing body RuPaul type stuff. I happen to agree with you. I think it's weird too, but there's a lot of shit that I think is weird. There's a lot of people who are calling in sick today so that they can watch the United States men's team play Wales in the first game of the World Cup. I think that's weird, right? So there's a lot of things that I think are weird, but I don't get involved in it. Whatever. Who we got? Who are the people that are? Because we were just worried about another group of innocent American citizens who were concerned about, their safety. Jews. That's right. Yeah, Jews. So we got problems with Jews. Well, no, we don't have a problem with Jews. Jews have a problem with idiots again. Gays now have a problem with idiots again. The Muslim, do the Islam people, they doing okay? I don't know how they doing. They haven't been really on the radar as far as So I don't know. We're hateful. We're a hateful species, humanity. We just don't like things that are different. Club Q. Okay. Yeah, look at this. He was arrested in 2021 when his mom called police because he was building a bomb and threatening people with it. Well, he's a doer. This little psychopath. You got to take him serious. A lot of people might say crazy ass shit just to get attention. And other people are saying crazy ass shit because they intend to do some crazy ass shit. And this dude did. There's been an earthquake in Indonesia. That's also trending. Indonesian earthquake. At least 162 people have died after a strong quake topples houses in Indonesia. A strong, shallow earthquake toppled buildings and walls on Indonesia's densely populated main island on Monday, killing at least 162 and injuring hundreds of others as residents fled into the streets. Some covered in blood and debris. Okay, we didn't need that. Didn't need that last descriptor. Dallas cop is trending. There's a copy. There's a local story. A little something. We'll throw a little something in here for the local folks as we do this show here from the Comfort Nest Studios, nestled in the beautiful 1%er neighborhood of Highland Park, Texas, and North Texas. A Dallas cop is making the news because, oh man, look, I know a lot of cops. I have a lot of friends who are cops, cop family, cop friends, cop. I know cops. I know a lot of cops. I know a lot of bad cops. I also know a lot of good cops. I also know a lot of good dudes who are cops, who are not trouble. Although I have to tell you, no, I don't have to tell you. I don't have to, because it'll just distract from the overall story. We don't need to go into this. Dallas police officer who was fired over an aggravated assault charge was accused of pointing a gun at the head of a fellow officer while they rode in an Uber before the gun discharged in the sunroof. This according to an arrest warrant and affidavit. Officer Anthony Himes of the Dallas Police Department was fired on Friday over the alleged incident, which happened earlier Friday. This according to the affidavit. So early Friday. So Thursday night. So a couple of cops go out Thursday night after their shift. You know, if you ever seen The Wire or The Shield or NYPD Blue, some cops do. Let's go to the cop bar and get a drink. You know, they do that. They go out. Maybe one of them's, well, not maybe, probably one of them's having problems with the wife. You know, one of them probably, well, maybe if you weren't out in a bar every night drinking with your buddies who you spent the last 9 hours with, maybe you wouldn't have problems at home. But anyway. So these two cops probably go out, they get drunk, they get wasted. They're like, let's take an Uber home or whatever, I guess. So they take an Uber home and something occurs. So one of the cops is in the back seat and one of the cops is in the front seat. They're in the Uber. Every time I've been in an Uber, I sat in the back seat. So I've never had the front seat option in the Uber. That seems weird. I don't even know that I would take it if it was offered to me. I don't want to sit next to that guy. I want to sit next to my friend in the back. But so one cop in the back seat, one cop in the front seat. Cop in the back seat pulls out his gun and points it at the head of the cop in the front seat. They're arguing about something. We don't know what, but they're arguing about something. A fight ensues where the guy in the front seat tries to take the gun away from the cop in the back seat. Both are wasted. And the gun discharges and fires through the roof of the Uber driver's car. Now, I'm going to read the story to you here because there's a lot of weird shit that's going on that we might have to pull apart. An Uber driver called 911 and reported that a backseat passenger shot a front seat passenger. Police responded and found one man near the Uber driver and found Himes in the back seat of the Uber. The Uber driver told officers that Himes had pointed a gun at the head of the other passenger as he was driving them to a gated community. The Uber driver told police that the two passengers struggled over the pistol, which then discharged into the roof of the vehicle, damaging the sunroof. The officers, man, how's he going to get that money back? You know, this dude drives his car. And Uber cars are mostly nice. They're mostly pretty decent. This dude is driving his own car, picks up a couple of drunk cops. Cop shoots his sunroof. This is a dude driving Uber, okay? He doesn't just have $600-700 laying around so he can go down to the glass place and get his sunroof fixed. This is a problem now. Not only is it a problem for him, to get it fixed, but how's he going to keep working with Uber? Now he's got like a junked ass car. It probably looks bad. What's he going to have, a plastic bag over it? Come on, man. This guy, how's he going to get his money back? How's he going to, this is going to drag on for months. This poor dude. See, we don't think about these things. I do. I think about the Uber driver who's now got a bullet hole in his sunroof, and he's like, man, I can't be driving people with a plastic bag on top of my sunroof flapping around. I got to get this fixed, and I don't have the money to get it fixed. Feel bad for him. Police responded and found one man. Okay, so Uber driver pulls over. You guys are crazy. He jumps out of the car. He calls 911. The police show up, and the two passengers, the two police officers, are still there. One dude is outside the car. He's the dude that was in the front seat. And the dude who shot Himes, Officer Himes, who's been fired now, the dude who shot his weapon is still in the back seat. Like, he didn't get up. Maybe, you know what must have happened? They must have known they effed up. At that point, both cops were like, they got sobered up real quick. They're like, oh my God, Oh my God, this dude is going to call the police, and now the police are going to come. And what are our choices? They made the right choice. They made the right choice. Because if this was an episode of The Shield, or if this was like, an episode of one of those cop shows, these bad cops would have murdered that Uber driver and then made his body disappear. That's how it would have gone down of his TV show. But in real life, these cops were like, oh shit, okay, we're already in trouble. Let's not make it worse. And they sat there and they waited. The investigating officers recovered Himes' pistol. Himes' pistol had one fired cartridge. When the other passenger was interviewed by police, this is the other cop. When the other passenger was interviewed by police, he said he was intoxicated and that his ears were ringing after the gunshot. The passenger told police that he did not recall how he came to be in possession of the pistol, but did place it in the right front passenger seat after the gunshot. So he's not giving anything. What's that? The thin blue line? They ain't giving anything. They ain't gonna. These two cops. The one cop tried to kill the other cop, or maybe it truly was an accident. But it was an accident that had a high likelihood of something really bad happening because you don't play with guns. My buddy, we're drunk here. I'm putting a gun to your head. Don't put that gun to my head. And he moves the gun and boom, it goes off. I don't know. I can see it being like that. Like I can see it being just two drunk, stupid cops. And there's a lot of stupid cop. There are a lot of stupid cops out there, you guys. Seriously, the police forces of America, and as I said before this whole thing, know a lot of cops. Some of my best friends are cops, come from a cop family, no cop people, no cops my whole life. There are a lot of stupid cops. I can't tell you how many times I've been around other cops where they've gone, I can't believe that guy's a cop. That guy is really stupid. I mean, they know it. They know. Same with teachers. There's a lot of really stupid school teachers out there, which is kind of crazy. Because we want to believe that we want to believe that all school teachers are brilliant because we're trusting the education of our children, and we want to believe that every police officer wearing the badge, wearing that uniform, walking around is above reproach. That's not the case. That's just not the case. People are people, so why should it be? Here we got a story here happening out of Boston. This was breaking earlier today. Let me see what the latest update is on this. And why am I not able to pull it up? Okay. Yeah. So there was an incident at an Apple store in Boston today. 10 people have been injured when a car plowed through the Apple store front window, pinning people underneath the vehicle. It was quite a scene. Still happening now, developing ... as they say. The latest is one has been killed. One killed, 16 hurt after SUV barrels through front of Apple store in Hingham, Massachusetts. A criminal investigation is underway after one person was killed and at least 16 others were injured when an SUV crashed through the front of an Apple store at the Derby Street shops in Hingham on Monday morning. Emergency crews responding to a report of a vehicle into a building at 94 Derby Street around 10:45 a.m. That would be what, 9:45 our time? Found a gaping hole in the glass facade of the store, a black SUV that had come to a stop on the sales floor inside, and multiple people suffering from various injuries. The name of the person who passed away has not been released, but they were pronounced dead at the scene. Yeah. The driver was not hospitalized and is said to be in police custody. Charges have not yet been announced, but crews confirmed that an active criminal investigation is underway, calling the incident unthinkable. Preliminary investigation indicated that the SUV crashed through the glass and struck multiple people, leaving some victims pinned against walls. Hanover Fire Department said that the Plymouth County Tech Rescue Team was activated to assist people who were either injured or trapped. Multiple crews from the Rockland Fire Department were also called in to assist. Photos are pretty big, giant. Well, Apple stores, they all, the Apple stores aren't a converted Payless, right? I mean, Apple stores are all built from the ground up to the Apple brand. So if you've ever seen one, they're all glass in the front, big, giant floor to ceiling, 20-foot glass windows. And so we don't know. We don't know if this was just somebody who's an Android guy who's like, I hate Apple. We don't know if it was. Here's what it probably was, and we'll keep tabs on this story because I always like to figure out how this started. Chances are the person in the SUV was over 75 and they confused the brake with the gas, right? That's what we're going to hear. They confuse the brake with the gas. I've never really understood that. But maybe when I'm older, I will. Like, how do your reaction time slow so much to the extent that, I mean, this car looks to have traveled a good 20 yards. So for 20 yards of travel, you forgot which one was the brake. You couldn't like if I confused the brake with the gas, the car might go 2 feet and then I'd immediately go, oh, jeez, right? I don't know. It's easy for me in this state of mental acuity and physical reaction time and performance. It's easy for me to be like, I don't know how that could happen, but catch me in 20 years. Maybe in 20 years I'll tell you. Oh yeah, no, it's totally. I totally get how you can confuse the gas for the brake. It's strange because it's a terrible situation. People killed, people just in the Apple store, people just shopping. It's that time of the year. People are going to be out just shopping. Hell, some of those people in that store probably weren't even buying anything. They were just there with a friend. So I guess it is important that we find out, is this a crazy person who's like, I'm going to kill people with my SUV, or confuse the gas with the brake? Because those are... a new study. This is interesting. Here we find ourselves on the week of Thanksgiving. A new study is out, folks, that says that the average person, and that would be you, me, guy next to you, person underneath you there in the chat room list. A new study finds that on average, and let's talk about this one for a minute. On average, we all have 5 people in our lives that we can trust. That's what this new study says. So think about that. Tie this into being thankful. Tie this into what this whole week is supposed to be about. So the study says that the average person has 5 people in their lives that they can trust on. When trust isn't broken, average person has 5 people they can truly lean on for anything. Okay. So I had to think about that, and I don't have 5. I don't have 5. I mean, that I can lean on for anything. I mean, okay, so if I was to make a list of the people that I love most in the world, number 1 on that list would be my kid, right? Kid, 1 and 1A, kid and mom, right? So it's a different kind of thing, but they're both right there. No, I can't count on my kid for anything. I can't. There's no trust there. I mean, I love him. He's number 1 on one chart, but on the other chart, no. Mom, I can trust for anything. So I got that. So I got mom. I got, and I don't want to give up any names. So I got 1. I got mom. Mom's the only one I'll mention. I got mom. 2. I got 3. 3. That's it. I'd say I got 3. I don't know. I mean, if the parameters of this question, people that you can truly lean on for anything, then I feel confident that I have 3. I don't have 5. Perhaps the sign of a true friendship is when trust isn't broken. To that point, it turns out that the average American has 5 people in their life that have a very strong relationship with, and can lean on for anything. The new study gauging 2,000 Americans' gratitude for the relationships in their lives reveals that 7 in 10 are feeling more thankful for the people in their life this year than ever before. From finding someone who is trustworthy, 48% say they have somebody trustworthy in their life, or a good listener, 41%. Good listeners are hard to find. And then are they even a good listener, or are they just a quiet person? Because isn't that really, you'd like to think that they're actually listening, but short of that, if they're just going to be quiet and sit there and let you talk, that's fine too. 33%, let's see, finding someone trustworthy, 48, good listener, 41, finding someone loyal, 33%. Only 33% of people say that they have someone loyal in their life. Nearly 3/4 of respondents agree that strong partnerships help simplify the complexities of life. That's 74%. 74% say the complexities or partnerships. Conducted by one poll for Sure Payroll, the survey found 3 in 5 people feel more sentimental about the relationships in their life around the holiday season. Duh. Yeah. That's the sort of the point of the holiday season, to remind us of all of this stuff. So yes, it would stand to reason that we might feel a little bit more appreciative during this time of year, since, we're being constantly reminded of it. Similarly, 85% believe good communication is key to relationships that feel fulfilling. All right, there you have it. Outside of their close friendship circle, people have some of the best partnerships in their lives with neighbors and doctors. Nearly a third of employed respondents say one of their strongest partnerships is with a coworker. All right, there you have it. I don't think I have 5 though. It's good for you. Good for you if you got 5. If you got 5 people that you can absolutely trust and count on and depend on, good for you. Study says that's the average. People have 5. Quentin Tarantino is trending. Quentin Tarantino is trending because I don't know what he's doing. He's out there, he's giving interviews, but he seems to be talking a lot about Harvey Weinstein, who Quentin Tarantino's kind of untouchable. I mean, look, if Quentin Tarantino himself did some stuff, he wouldn't be untouchable, because I don't believe that anybody's untouchable. I mean, Weinstein himself sort of proves that the absolute apex predator in Hollywood can be taken down. Nobody was more powerful in Hollywood than Harvey Weinstein. So the fact that he was taken down suggests that anyone can. So when I say Quentin Tarantino is untouchable, I guess what I mean is he's untouchable insofar as being covered in the stink of the people he's been a close associate with for 30 years. And that's Harvey Weinstein. Quentin Tarantino's career does not exist without Harvey Weinstein. Quentin Tarantino is one of the rare Harvey Weinstein proteges who Harvey didn't want to fuck. That's probably the difference between, why Mira Sorvino, after winning an Oscar, never really did anything else in Hollywood, because she wouldn't sleep with Harvey Weinstein. But Quentin Tarantino goes on. Anyway, Quentin Tarantino was talking about his relationship with Harvey Weinstein and how he was Harvey's best boy. He was Harvey. He knew everything. Well, so let's get into the story. Quentin Tarantino's press tour for his new book, that's it, he's got a book. He's got a book called Cinema Speculation. Continues with a guest appearance on Chris Wallace's HBO series, Who's Talking to Chris Wallace?, where the host pressed Tarantino on his relationship with Harvey Weinstein. The disgraced film producer Weinstein, who worked with Tarantino on 9 movies. The 2 severed ties amid Weinstein's downfall in October 2017 over sexual harassment and assault. Quentin Tarantino admitted at the time that he was aware of Weinstein's behavior to a certain degree, but he stressed to Wallace that he never knew such behavior included sexual assault. I'd never heard the stories that came out later, Tarantino said. I heard the same stories that everyone had. What I wish I had done was talk to Harvey about it and say, Harvey, you can't do this. Harvey, you can't be raping girls. Harvey, you can't do this. To tell you the truth, I talked it up to a Mad Men era version of the boss chasing the secretary around the desk. And I'm not saying that's okay. That's how I heard it. It's in that category. There was never any talk of rape or anything like that. All right, so that's what Quentin Tarantino is saying about his relationship with Harvey Weinstein. And having come through that era, I mean, I was a young man. I was in the night. Okay, so let's go to the 1990s. So in the early to mid 1990s, I was a young man who by happenstance was given access to a lot of rooms that maybe I shouldn't have been in, just as when I was a producer for other very successful people or whatever. So I was around, I was a fly in the wall for a lot of early 90s, mid 90s bad boardroom behavior type antics of the moneyed class, the rich guys. Because when I was 20, the guys who were in their 40s and 50s who were just slaying it, baby, they'd just come out of the crazy 80s and it was all cocaine and parties and Wall Street and all of that kind of stuff. So I saw a lot of shit. And a lot of shit was presented to me as normal, and this is the way the world works. And at the time, I was just like a powerless kid just taking notes. I remember, not taking notes figuratively. Literally, that would have been my job. I need you to hang out in this meeting and just anything important, write it down, because I'm probably not going to be paying attention. That's what my boss used to say. So I saw things. I saw things that were normalized to me, and much in the same way that Quentin Tarantino was talking about the way he handled Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein was making Quentin Tarantino a big superstar. Harvey Weinstein was a skirt chasing Lothario. He was, he was straight out of everything that we had been conditioned to believe was maybe not right or proper, but was common. And that is the idea of the casting couch. And there are certain guys who are leches. That was a way of the world for a lot of time. And there are a whole bunch of us men, myself included, who have half of our life experience in that world and the other half in the modern world, where that is seen as barbaric. And it's difficult. And I sort of, I'm not really trying to defend Quentin Tarantino, but I'm trying to. In 1996, when Quentin Tarantino is hearing that Harvey Weinstein is, sleeping with all the actresses in the movies, in 1996 you would go, yeah, that's kind of how Hollywood works. But Quentin Tarantino is saying that he didn't know about the raping part. And I didn't either. I mean, that's not the kind of thing that I was ever exposed to. But I heard men talking about wanting to have sex with their interns. I heard like powerful men talking about wanting to hook up with the new girl in the sales department. And these were men who were much higher than these women. So, I was like, yeah, that's what happens. If you get power, you can date the hot girl in the secretary pool because she's going to probably want to. And we didn't think anything more of it. I never had power to any degree. So I never, I was never tested on whether or not I would. Actually, that's not true. I had an intern once. Who, and I've had a lot of interns and a lot of producers, and challenge you to ask any of them. I was never inappropriate with any of them. There was one intern where something almost happened and it didn't. And I remember it didn't. And I was like, okay, it's probably good that didn't happen. And it, everything was fine. So I guess to a degree, I have been put in a position where I could have used with people I work with. Now, I'm not saying that's not like groupies. Groupies are different. Like, listeners and stuff like that. That's different. They know. But if it's somebody who you work for and somebody who or works for you, then there's that power dynamic thing. So I don't know. But for Quentin Tarantino to say about his early dealings with Harvey Weinstein that he did not know, if we believe him that he didn't know about the rapings, because I think that if Harvey Weinstein was openly raping people and everybody was talking about that, or maybe they didn't talk about it in that context. Maybe it's much more complicated. Maybe that sometimes when a girl said no, Harvey went for it anyway, was sort of discussed as, well, that's just how it is. And she got the role in the movie. I don't know. But the world has changed. And Quentin Tarantino is like me. We're men of a certain age who, for the early part of our careers, when we were powerless and we were just watching what the powerful were doing, a lot of shit was normalized. A lot of shit was like, yeah, that's just how it is. Yeah. She wants that job. Of course she got that job by blowing the program director. Of course she did. That's how it happens. Did he make the offer? Oh, yeah, but she did it, she did it and she's reaping the benefits of it. So that's kind of how it was normalized. It was, yeah. The question becomes, if Quentin Tarantino had heard the rumors, the Asia Argento stories, or the who's the redheaded crazy girl? The redheaded crazy lady. She was like with Marilyn Manson for a while. I don't know. I can't think of her name. But if he did hear those stories that those women then told in the Me Too movement and did nothing, then we'd have another thing. But I don't know. Quentin Tarantino, I can't really blame him for having a working relationship with Harvey Weinstein throughout the 90s, because anybody who was in the anybody who's in the film world for sure would have done anything to work with Harvey Weinstein, because Harvey Weinstein made careers. Harvey Weinstein, and if you're a girl, there was a way to get his attention. We know that. But if you were a guy, and I don't know. Anyway, there you have it. Tarantino and Weinstein. That's why Tarantino and Weinstein is trending. Mellencamp is trending. This is so funny. So Mellencamp's a big football fan. I don't know. I'm a big John Mellencamp fan. Bruce Springsteen of the Midwest. That's who he is. Corn-fed Bruce. Mellencamp went to the Colts game yesterday at Lucas Oil Field, and somebody took a picture of him during the national anthem. He was sitting there eating popcorn. He wasn't standing for the national anthem. So apparently People are calling him a fraud, and like the crazy far right people who just live for this shit, who just live to be triggered. That's what they want. They don't really care what the situation is. They just want to bitch and moan about something. And hopefully, if they can tear someone down in the process, that's really all they want to do. So somebody snapped this picture. They sent it to like a far right sports blog. Like apparently there's a far right sports blog out there. I don't know. Sports got to go political now. We got to have right sports and left sports. I don't know what that means even. I have no idea. But so they sent it to a far right sports blog, and then all of a sudden, he claims to be all about America, and he's flag waving Mellencamp, and look at him, he's a hypocrite. So they're calling him a hypocrite because they took a picture of him seated during the national anthem, and it's like, I love Mellencamp. I'm a big Mellencamp fan. I've seen Mellencamp easily 10 times. I mean, if you grow up where I grow up, Mellencamp plays everywhere all the time ad nauseum throughout the Midwest. It doesn't matter. He's always playing somewhere. It's always, and it's not like, it's Mellencamp, dude. This ain't like you're going to see Mellencamp at Taste of Addison. No, we're talking football stadiums, baseball stadiums, Wrigley Field once a year. You know, he's got his little area. It's big. It's not like he's playing county fairs. And most of us in the Midwest, we know who John Mellencamp is. What John Mellencamp is a kid from Indiana. He's a kid from Indiana who lives in Seymour. He doesn't want nothing to do with New York. He doesn't want nothing to do with Hollywood and the West Coast. He has never left his farm. He has dedicated the better part of his career to the people in his community, the farmers, the hard work in the Midwest, the rural people. That's what people know about John Mellencamp. The fact that a whole bunch of people are now being hipped to the idea that John Mellencamp, he ain't a crazy far-right MAGA Ted Nugent type, okay? John Mellencamp is pretty much just a normal Indiana, salt-of-the-earth dude who, as I said, turned the exploitation of the American farm worker into a cause that he has built a career on. So all of these people are like, well, I thought he was for the American farmer. Yeah, he is. He is. He started Farm Aid with with far right, notable far righties, Willie Nelson and Neil Young. He started Farm Aid with them to push back against the Reagan administration's treatment of American farmers in the 1980s, okay? This idea that people are upset. I thought John Mellencamp was on our side. He sings about America, and look at him. He won't even stand for the national anthem. You don't know John Mellencamp. John Mellencamp ain't on your stupid political side. He ain't on his stupid political side. John Mellencamp is on the side of the people in Indiana, Iowa, Illinois, Ohio. That's who John Mellencamp is on. Oh, but he sings that song, Ain't That America for You and Me? Yeah, listen to the words of that song. That song is about how working man, and specifically the rural man, has been exploited and shit on for years. That's what that song is about. I love it. This happens all the time. You know, it's like when you hear Lee Greenwood's Proud to Be an American at a 4th of July show, and then they follow it up with Born in the USA. And everybody's like, yeah! Because everybody just thinks Born in the USA is about flag waving and we're number one. It ain't! Listen to the words, man. Born in the USA is about the treatment of Vietnam veterans and how the American people turn their back on them. But, you know, nobody listens to the lyrics to these songs. John Mellencamp has never hid who he was. John Mellencamp, just look him up. John Mellencamp's a hypocrite. No, he's not. John Mellencamp ain't standing for the national anthem because he's been pissed off at the United States government for about 40 years. And his pissed off at the United States government isn't about where gays are peeing. It's about how they fucked over the American Midwest. That's his argument. So you know what? Just take your John Mellencamp bashing and get the hell out of here. I don't give a shit. He's a liberal. Of course he's a liberal. He's a pot-smoking Indiana hippie. Okay, of course he's probably a bit more progressive than the dude who goes to Bible study every night of the week. But it doesn't change who he is. He is an American. He's a rural American. He is anchored there, Seymour, Indiana. This dude could be living in Malibu. This dude could be living in a penthouse in New York City, but he's not. He spent his entire life living on this farm. He's a real American, and he's allowed to do whatever the fuck he wants to do at a football game. If he doesn't want to stand for the national anthem because he's pissed off, well, that's just John Mellencamp. And you know what? He's got that FU money. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care because that dude is going to announce a concert tomorrow at Wrigley Field and it will sell out in 10 minutes. That dude doesn't need to please anybody. But this idea that he was before, and that's the whole crux of this, that John Mellencamp was this far right American guy, farm aid. Yeah, farm aid, because of the government was fucking over farmers. He's not a far right guy. He's also never been a far left guy. He's not that either. Defensive Melonhead. I will defend Melonhead. I love Melonhead. Walked into a backstage room, opened the door looking for somebody, and it was John Mellencamp and Kenny Aronoff, his drummer. I opened the door on accident, and I was like, "Oh, hey!" And it's just John Mellencamp and Kenny Aronoff. They're just sitting there in this little green room, and I go, "Hey, have either of you?" I tried to play it off, even though it was like, "Oh shit, that's John Mellencamp." And I was looking for the other guy, and I go, "Hey, has anybody seen so and so?" And John Mellencamp goes, "Yeah, man, he was just in here, but he just left. Hey, you want beer?" And he like reached into a cooler, like a cooler, and like grabbed a beer. And I go, "I will take that beer from John Mellencamp." He goes, "Sit down, man. He'll be right back." And I sat there and I just drank my beer, and John Mellencamp and Kenny Aronoff went back to their little conversation. That's the long and short of my relationship with John Mellencamp. And it was awesome because he offered me a beer. He was nice. He was welcoming. He was warm. And then I sat down and he went right back to talking to Kenny Aronoff about Kenny Aronoff, one of the great drummers of all time. Okay, Disney is trending because Bob Iger is back in charge at Disney. Bob Iger led Disney for a long, long time. He was a very successful leader of the world's I don't know, Disney. All right, I got no hot takes on Disney. But so they put a new guy. Bob Iger retired last year or 2 years ago, maybe it was. I don't know, a little bit over a year. He retired, and they brought in a new guy, and everybody hated the new guy. So now the new guy's out, and Bob Iger's back. It took a year to retire. He's only 71. People in that world, they don't retire at 71. You don't step down as like CEO of Disney Corp because you're 71. Those dudes do those jobs. Some to Redstone. Look at Rupert Murdoch. Rupert Murdoch's like 95. He's not going anywhere. I don't know how old Rupert Murdoch is, but he's old. He's old. So, Iger retired early, and now he's back. Iger's going to lead Disney again. And, oh, boy, are people excited. The Walking Dead is trending. The Walking Dead is trending because apparently that series came to an end last night. Came to an end for me about 4 years ago. I used to watch Walking Dead. I don't know what happened with Walking Dead. I can't say that it's, Walking Dead's fault, but I just stopped watching it. I don't know what happened. Was there like a delay between seasons? Was there like some season where instead of it just being, you got to wait a year, was it like 2 years? And that's why I fell off it? Because that's a reason why sometimes I fall off shows, because they just take too long to post a new season. I don't know. There was the last thing I remember about The Walking Dead, there was a dude who started a kingdom and he had a lion. That's all I remember. That's the last thing I remember about The Walking Dead. Everything post that is. Anyway, it's over. Walking Dead ended. I guess it ended last night. So there you have it. That would be a show. Oh, there's so many seasons. Aren't there like 20 seasons of this show? I mean, how many seasons of Walking? I was going to say that would be one that I could re-binge. But man, it seems like you got to go all the way back. Like if I got to re-binge, that seems like there's a lot there. That could be a real investment of my time. And again, I don't even remember why I jumped off, but at some point I didn't make it a priority in my life to keep up with the story. So yeah, maybe I'll just pick up from around where I left off and then I'll go from there. That'll probably give me like 3 seasons. Anyway, Walking Dead is over. The American Music Awards were last night. Let's see, we got anything here? All right, let's see. Let's go through some of the winners of the American Music Awards. The American Music Awards were always sort of like the Dollar Tree version of the Grammys. Not exactly the Grammys, but All right, let's see who won. Let's look at the big. I don't know any of these names, you guys. I'm so old. I'm getting so old. Oh, I know her. I know Taylor Swift. She won Artist of the Year. She beat Adele. Love me some Adele. Bad Bunny. Who's Bad Bunny's? Bad seems like bad. Here's the problem with. I don't know. Maybe this is again. We were talking about Quentin Tarantino. So Bad Bunny. I hear the name Bad Bunny. It sounds like a feminine name to me, right? So is Bad Bunny, is that a girl or a guy? I have no idea. Or is it a band? Am I like the Pink Floyd guy? I like that Pink Floyd fella. Pink Floyd's a band, Grandpa. Like, is Bad Bunny a band? I don't know. Is it a guy, a girl? Bad Bunny sounds like it would be a girl. Bunny sounds like, but whatever. Beyonce, we know Beyonce. Drake, we know Drake. Harry Styles, we know Harry Styles. And The Weeknd, we know The Weeknd. The winner was Taylor Swift for Artist of the Year. That's not a bad list. The only one I don't know is Bad Bunny. Adele, Beyonce, Drake, Harry Styles, The Weeknd, and Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift won. New Artist of the Year, Dove Cameron. No idea who that is. Didn't he run the United Kingdom for a number of years, about a decade back? Dove Cameron, Prime Minister of England. He won New Artist of the Year. He beat Gayle. He beat Gayle and he beat Latto. Latto. We got a Lizzo. Now we got a Latto. Manskin. And Steve Lacy. Steve Lacy. I don't know who Steve Lacy is. Steve Lacy is getting a lot of pub. Steve Lacy is a guy that's got a lot of push behind him. And Steve Lacy is a dude I went to high school with. I don't know. Steve Lacy. What happened to, like, at least Bad Bunny is playing, right? At least Bad Bunny is giving me a little something. Steve Lacy? Like, even if you just flipped it, like, even if you just went around as Lacy Steve, that would be something. I'd be like, okay, Lacy Steve, I get that. Steve Lacy? That's like, that's like, the hip hop artist of the year being Bob Jorgensen. Ladies and gentlemen, hip hop album of the year goes to Bob Jorgensen. And then, like, some guy gets up and he's got the grill and the gold chains and all that stuff. And, he gets up on stage and it's Bob Jorgensen. It's not. Anyway, collaboration of the year went to Elton John and Dua Lipa for Cold Heart. Don't know that. And I'm not going to even waste my time on the other nominees. Favorite touring artist this year. Category, or the favorite touring artist. This is a new category, right? I don't remember this being a category. So the choices were Bad Bunny, Ed Sheeran, Coldplay, Elton John, and the Rolling Stones. And the winner for Best Touring Act of the Year, Coldplay. Really? Coldplay? I mean, if you're going to Coldplay, really? You're going to go to Coldplay? Don't you just give that to the Rolling Stones because they're still touring? Favorite music video, Taylor Swift won for that. Didn't know they still had music videos. Favorite male pop artist, Harry Styles. He beat Ed Sheeran, Drake, Bad Bunny. There we go. Bad Bunny's a guy. Look at that. Bad Bunny is a guy. It's a feminine name. But maybe that speaks to, the whole my expectations of Bad Bunny being a female is because in my mind, I place feminine and masculine. Okay, never mind. Bad Bunny sounds like it would be the name for a girl, and it's a guy. That's all I'm saying. Favorite female pop artist this year went to Taylor Swift. She beat Adele, Beyonce, Doja Cat, and Lizzo. Favorite pop album went to Taylor Swift. She beat Adele. She beat Bad Bunny, Beyonce, Harry Styles. That's all the same. That's it. This entire contest seems to be between Adele, Bad Bunny, Beyonce, Harry Styles, Taylor Swift, and The Weeknd. Because they seem to be, Taylor Swift seems to have won everything. Harry Styles won for Best Pop Song. Best Pop Song at this year's American Music Awards went to Harry Styles, As It Was. I love that song. As It Was. As It Was. I don't know that song. I have no idea what that song. Song of the year. Favorite pop song. As It Was. I have no idea what that. I don't know any. Harry Styles. I know he's big. Couldn't name a song. Maybe I should open my mind. To some Harry Styles. You know what? I'll fly that past the 13-year-old. I got a 13-year-old. I'm going to say, should I listen to Harry Styles? And if he tells me it's worth it, then I will. I trust him. Oh, look at that. I just said earlier when we were talking about the new study that says that the average person has 5 people in their lives that they can trust. I said that I couldn't trust my 13-year-old. Turns out whether or not I should invest my time in listening to some Harry Styles is something I would trust my 13-year-old on. Favorite country duo or group went to Dan and Shay. Other nominees were Bad Bunny, Adele, The Weeknd. No, I'm kidding. This is favorite country duo or group. Lady A, Old Dominion. Parmalee and the Zac Brown Band were all in contention, and Dan and Shay won. Favorite country album, Taylor Swift takes that one. She's just taking them all home, folks. Favorite country song, Morgan Wallen, winner. He was the winner. Wasted on You is the song that he did. He beat Chris Stapleton's You Should Probably Leave, Cody Johnson's Till You Can't, Dustin Lynch featuring Mackenzie Porter, Thinking 'Bout You, and Jordan Davis's featuring Luke Bryan. Buy Dirt, the winner in favorite country song. Morgan Wallen, Wasted on You. Favorite male hip-hop artist, Kendrick Lamar. He beat two Lils. He beat Lil Baby. He beat Lil Durk. He beat Future, and he beat Drake. Favorite female hip-hop artist, Nicki Minaj. She beat Cardi B, Latto, Megan Thee Stallion, Glow, and Glorilla. Glorilla. I want to look up who Glorilla is, because that's a. I mean, I looked at it and I looked at it really quick when I was reading these things, and I want to say gorilla. It looks like gorilla, but her name is styled. I'm guessing it's a her, because maybe Glorilla. I don't know. Whatever. Kendrick Lamar won for best hip hop album, Mr. Moral and the Big Steppers. Favorite hip hop song winner was Future featuring Drake, Waiting for You. All right, we don't care. That's it. R&B artists. Wait a second. There's R&B album, R&B song. Is there anything here that Latin artist, Latin duo or group? I don't care. Latin song. Rock artist. Okay, here we go. Rock artist winners last night at the American Music Awards. Favorite rock artist. The nominees were Imagine Dragons, Machine Gun Kelly, Manskin, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and the Lumineers. The winner, Machine Gun Kelly. Favorite rock song, Manskin. Manskin won for Begging. Favorite rock song of the year, the other contenders were Foo Fighters, Love Dies Young, the Imagine Dragons, Enemy, Kate Bush, Running Up That Hill. Look at that. Kate Bush's Running Up That Hill was nominated for favorite rock song in 2022, a song that first charted in 1984. Stranger Things did that. Favorite rock album, Ghost, Impera won. I don't know who Ghost is. I don't even know any of these rock things. Yeah, there you go. All right, that's it. All right, I'm going to jump in now. I'm going to take a look over here at Google Trends, see what has been trending since we signed on here, because that's it. We're out of prepared stuff as far as all the stuff that we do here. Yeah, Ross, I think all the award shows are pretty pathetic. I mean, how do you play one song and then play another song and go, that one's better? I don't know how, it's your opinion, but music's very. United States men's team is trending at number 1. We talked about that. Team USA, Wales is trending. Senegal is okay. Go USA is trending. Oh my God. USA is trending. England is trending. World Cup is trending. I believe that we will win is trending. Soccer is trending. Guys, I'm telling you, it's going to be rough for the next month. The trends during the World Cup are going to be completely taken over by soccer fans worldwide. Not fun. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. Again, there is no pillow talk tonight because in its place, I will be over at 97.1 The Freak doing mansplaining. Mansplaining with me and Dr. Robert Schwartz, typically heard on Saturday and Sunday evenings, 9 to 11, over there at 97.1 The Freak here in Dallas, Texas. Will be heard tonight, 9 to 11. 9 to 11, a special Monday night mansplaining show. Come one, come all. If you want to participate in the show as a caller, reach out to me. I don't know. We're going to need it. I would like to have a couple people just in case. So maybe I'll reach out to a couple of you. If you can help out, that would be great. Other than that, we've had pretty good caller reaction during the weeknight show. So I think that's one of the reasons why we're always so excited when we get to do a Friday or a Monday show or a Tuesday show or a Wednesday show. Oh yeah, those are coming. So tonight, special show, mansplaining. Tonight, myself and Dr. Robert Schwartz taking your calls. It's Loveline. It's basically just like Loveline with two guys just picking through all of your crazy little issues. That's it. Join us tonight, 9 o'clock, 97.1 The Freak here in Dallas. And also, If you're not in the North Texas area, you're listening online, all you need to do is go and get yourself the iHeart app. iHeart app. It's pretty accessible. It's over there. It's free. And then if you can't get the 97.1 FM signal, just, the iHeart app. 97.1 The Freak. On the iHeart app. So you just go to the iHeart app, and then, the little search bar, just put 97.1 The Freak, and it'll pop right up. And there you have it. And then you can stream the show no matter where you are. Noon show tomorrow. Yep. We'll be back here tomorrow at noon to give you another high noon edition of all of the things that are trending and all of the things that make that particular day great. That's what we do. A multi-answer. Yeah, Jeff says, not even going to mention that Trump and Kanye are unbanned from Twitter. It's not trending. It's not trending. It's not. Not in any of the things where I am. And yeah, Jeff, why would I? Why of all the things that we can talk about in the world, why would we talk about that shit? If you want that shit, trust me, my friend, and you know where to find it. There's plenty of AM talk guys who will give you nothing but 4 hours of divisive bullshit designed only to stir you up. Fuck that. We don't talk about that shit. We talk about Kanye when he's doing silly stuff. We never talk about Trump. Never. Why? Too many people have too many hot opinions on that guy, and you can't talk about Trump for 30 seconds, because if you talk about Trump for 30 seconds, it devours the chat room for the next 2 hours. I don't want anything to do with that. Also, if you're looking to point fingers, I don't talk about Biden either. You've never heard me do any of that bullshit either. So please, you've known from the beginning of this show that we don't do the divisive stuff. I don't give a shit about politics. Politics is stupid. Only stupid people care about party politics. I'm sorry. If you think that you're on the right side because you vote blue and the red people are all fucking nuts, you're fucking nuts. And vice versa. If you think I only vote for Republicans, you're fucking nuts, man. You are fucking nuts. So let's all stop this. There you go. I have no interest in talking about Kanye or Twitter, any of that stuff. Besides, this is okay. Oh, you want a hot take on the Trump Twitter thing? He can't go back to Twitter. You know how much money he's got invested in Truth Social? The minute Trump goes back to Twitter, he tanks Truth Social. Come on. So, I mean, what is this? This is just, they did a poll. I love how Elon Musk, one of his big problems was all of the bots, right? There's so many bots here on Twitter. That's one of the big problems with me taking over Twitter is all of the bots. And the bots are a problem. I'd say that Twitter is about 90% bots. But then you do a poll, knowing full well that polls are owned by, especially polls that are that high profile. Absolutely nothing but bots. Just bots. So I thought that was funny. Elon Musk is a showman, man. I'll tell you. Look, I don't like him. I think he's a weirdo. I think he's a weirdo. I think he's a weird guy. That's I've been consistent on that. But I think Twitter's been fun. I think he's funny on Twitter. I don't give a shit. Twitter is not important. See, all the people who are upset about, what's he going to do to Twitter? You guys, Twitter is not important. Twitter is a weird vacuum existence that too many of you think is the real. It's not the real world. It doesn't matter. He's fucking with people. He's the richest man in the world, and he can do this. He can fuck with all of us at once, and that's what he's doing. I'm enjoying it. And I think he's a weirdo. I'm not an Elon Musk fan. I think he's a weirdo. But I also don't have a problem with what he's doing on Twitter. Look, I'm following him now. I was never followed him before, but I am now because he's a weirdo and he's fun. We all need distractions. All right, bye, everybody. See you tomorrow at noon for more High Noon. I'm Pugs Moran. Bye-bye.